Welcome back to Mana Mindset, and today I have a great friend and a client of mine named Simone, and she's going to be joining me as we talk about past life regressions and discovering what she was in 2 of her past lives. It's pretty fascinating. This is one of the stories I can't get out of my head for a lot of reasons. But we're excited to connect with people on IG Live right now and on Zoom for to put on the YouTube channel. So, hi, Simone.
Hey, hello.
I just kind of want you to introduce yourself and like when you met me and like,
okay,
just kind of that journey of us working together, and then what brought you to the point where you're like, okay, I think I'm ready now to try this other service you offer.
Okay, so we met, actually, it was like early 2018. So I found you on Yelp. And honestly, I think at the time, like I was just going through a lot, and I was really looking for like a therapist or like a life coach or something. I was trying to make sense of a career change and just like personal things. So I just looked in Yelp and I Googled, I think it was like life coach or something like that. And I had gone through all these lists of people. It was a long list. And I realized a lot of them were white women or white men. And that didn't resonate with me. I really wanted a person of color. Didn't necessarily have to be Black, didn't have to be anything, but a woman, man. I just wanted a person of color. And Britt was like the first person of color I saw that had like a ton of reviews that were all 5 stars. So I was like, okay, must be something to this. So I just reached out, and then, I mean, it's been history ever since.
Yeah. Yeah, it feels like I've known you for a long time.
Yeah, it does, right?
Yeah. And Simone has taken my Reiki certification class. Yep. And you did the advanced one too, right?
Yep. Advanced Reiki. And then, of course, I've joined like classes just to...
women's workshops. And all that good stuff. So when did we do your past life?
So I want to say it was like late 2018.
I have
you have it. Yeah.
Hang on. I think I wrote the date down. 10/26/2018.
Oh my gosh. So almost like a year. Or 2 years.
2 years.
Yeah.
Wow. 2 years.
It feels like a year. It feels recent. It doesn't feel like it's been 2 years. 2020
is just the time.
It doesn't count.
In 2020, it just feels off. But what made
you
want to go, okay, I think like I'm ready to try, because it's a different session. It's not like Reiki and life coaching. It's deeper. I can't guarantee anything. We're really going in there and connecting you, me, your guides, my guides. There's like this flow that has to happen. And that's the craziest thing, guys. Like, I can't promise any outcome when I do these sessions. And like half the time I'm thinking, why do I even offer this? Because in like this Western society we're in, they want to know like, this is the price I'm paying and this is the outcome I'm going to get. And when it comes to the spiritual world and things like this, we don't know. We just don't know, but why not give it a try? Because on the other side of that, if it works, it's amazing.
Right.
It's a once in a lifetime. Well, you can do it multiple times, but it's one of those things that you should gift yourself to understand who you are more, why you have certain tendencies, why you gravitate to certain things, why you hate certain things, why you don't like certain type of people, what kind of movies you're attracted to. Like, it just, why you're different from your family, maybe. Right? It all starts to make sense when you can experience in hypnosis in a very relaxed but focused state these memories or these feelings that start to come back, and it feels like absolute truth. Absolute truth in your body. Like, people ask me all the time, like, how does it, people are different, right? They can visualize with their third eye. It comes to them in their third eye. It feel like people can feel through their body, or it's just a knowing. Like, this is who I was in a past life. But whatever the case, the truth that person feels in the chair, that's their truth. You know, and I'm just there to facilitate, hold space for you, and take a shit ton of notes, so that a ton of notes, guys.
My hat. I don't think I've seen those.
I used to be a journalist, so I write everything she says. Every single thing that you will say in the session is written in my notes.
Wow, I didn't realize that was that.
So I brought it today.
Oh my God.
Super exciting.
Okay.
Yes. Okay, so
So what led me to this? I think, well, I took the Reiki certification. So I had already come to you for like life coaching and just Reiki. That was really it. Yeah. And then we started talking more about Reiki certification. So then I took that. And then I think it was just kind of like an evolution of just like getting to know you, trusting you, like to do it. Because I had never been hypnotized, under hypnosis before. I never really knew what it entailed. Like I just had no clue. That's not something, I mean, I grew up with, or that was in my radar at the time. So I think it was just more so just getting to know you over the period of time that we had gotten to know each other, and doing the Reiki certification. I want to say, was it the women's workshop before that?
Oh, yeah, I did the group hypnosis.
Yeah.
At the workshop. So you did experience a little bit of hypnosis.
Right. So I kind of felt
group
like
setting.
Okay with it. You know, it wasn't like this scary like thing. It wasn't like TV where you're like,
well, you know, the movie Get Out did not help.
No,
you know, the movie Get Out definitely did not help.
Because it makes you feel like you're powerless, or like you don't have any control over the situation, which is not at all the experience.
And my point to people is, like she said, find someone you trust. It's incredibly important to find a healer or to find a hypnotherapist that you trust.
Yep.
It's very, very important. Then you can really let go, and then you can really heal, and you can experience these things deeper. But if you don't have that that trust, like it, or if the person is shady, like I've seen hypnotherapists mess with people for their own, their own gain.
Right.
Especially if it's like man and woman. Like I've seen men hypnotherapists like try to make the woman fall in love with them or something crazy like that. So I hear horror stories from some people, and so finding the right hypnotherapist that you trust is the first step in this past life regression process. Yeah.
So that was it. I think we had just built a friendship at that point. Yeah. So I think I just felt comfortable and I trusted you. And I wanted to know, like, I was just really curious about like what would come up. Like, no idea.
There's one thing that stood out to me. I think it was like a couple weeks before we did this, and you told me like you get very emotional when you when you hear or watch the hakas, like when Maori people are doing their hakas, you get very emotional. And I thought, wow, like I'm Hawaiian, you would think I would get more emotional than you know what I mean?
Right, like what about
you to be like almost brought to tears sometimes watching it. I was like, let's explore that.
Right.
Definitely.
Yes. I think, and that was like so weird to me, like something like that. I have no connection, no family connection. I'd only been to Hawaii once and did the complete like tourist, like there's no connection outside of now you like to anything. I would say from like a Polynesian standpoint. So for me to watch those, and I would really cry, like bawl, like I would be emotional, and that's like, okay. This is weird, but
this is weird. Yeah. Okay, let's jump in because I know the people are here for story time. So she experienced 2 lives during the session. Also to note, if you know what I'm about to say.
Yeah.
you know what I'm about to say.
Yeah.
When you do a past life regression, with me anyway, it's about 3.5 hours long. You also get some coaching and Reiki, but do not schedule anything after the session, like work or a meeting or a date. Simone,
don't do that.
Don't schedule anything right after your past life regression session, because it's very emotional, you guys, and stuff comes up. And Simone had to go on a date right after that. And
I did. And it was just a disaster.
Oh my gosh, because you're so emotional coming off of this, and you really need like the evening or the rest of the day or even the week to just mentally
process
what just happened. Yeah. So you should not go on anything important like a meeting or any important dinner or whatever after that. Just kind of like take it easy. The day that you do the past life regression, just like really take it easy. I've had people just like take off of work for the day. It's really something that you need some time with to sit with it.
You do.
Yeah.
Don't be me. Don't be like that.
Don't go on a date right after.
Don't do it.
Oh my gosh, that was so funny.
Yeah.
But let's hop into the first past life.
The first life. Okay. Yeah. So I I do remember just Britt walking me through just the process of going into hypnosis. And I remember feeling really cold, like my feet were really cold. And I kind of felt like I was spinning.
That's right.
And I just was like going really fast. And that was it. And I felt that it felt like what felt like a long time. I just felt that, like cold feet and spinning. And then Britt started asking questions, and basically I was a European woman in like, I would say like the 1800s, somewhere in that time frame.
I think like later 1800s.
Yeah. Like, you know, somewhere in Europe, either France or Europe, like England or London or somewhere. But I do remember just being cold, feeling dizzy, like spinning. And then eventually, like as Britt kind of prompted me, she was asking more so like, who are you? So I was a woman, I was white or European. I was married to this like socialite guy, like this like, or he was like well known for like, he wrote newspaper articles or something, or he owned the newspaper or something like that. And he was like kind of a socialite. So he was very social, always at these like events.
He was older than you too.
And older, yeah.
Like definitely like, more than 10 years.
Yeah. Like older guy, but he was like very much into like the society and like putting on airs and being very like, you know, showy. Like, you know, it may not, whoever he presented outwardly was not who he was internally. He was kind of mean. He wasn't very loving. He wasn't very nice to me, his wife. So it would come to a point where as the person who I was, she would like kind of lie to him and say like she couldn't go with him to certain events, like galas or dinners or things like that. She started lying to him and just pretending like she was really sickly and just not feeling good. And she would basically, once he would go out, she would then sneak out, like get all bundled up and wrapped up. So it was like in the winter time. So that's why my feet were cold. And she would go to like the local pub and just like get super drunk with her friends at the pub and just have a blast, like just have so much fun. And she would get drunk and walk back to home. So I think the spinning I felt was like the drunkenness
and feeling cold.
And cold was like in my feet being cold. Yeah, just walking back and forth to this pub. And so that would go on for like a period of time. And then there was one particular night that I went out.
You always got to get home before he got home.
Yeah.
So he never really like knew you were out. You would try to beat him home.
I would beat him up. That's right. So I would beat him home. So he never knew. And like he just assumed I was just like in the bed sick, and I would be like, of course, like sick because I was drunk. So it kind of worked, I guess. And then I would go, I think this one particular night I snuck out, went to the pub, and basically like a guy I was dealing with in the pub was like flirting with me, and he got really aggressive. And trigger warning for anybody. I think he just kind of took advantage of me, and I could physically feel it in the body. My body.
She's telling me about it. She's like, I feel it down there.
Yeah, it felt like, sore and just didn't feel good. And another guy came to like rescue me from that situation and just kind of, you know, beat up the guy that was doing way too much. And this guy kind of came and just kind of took care of me. And, you know, I was drunk. And so he took me home. And I think at that point, like someone in the neighborhood or my husband, I can't remember, saw me with this guy.
Walking home with him.
Yeah. So of course, you know, it's not a good look with this guy who wants to be like, you know, put on airs and be the socialite, you know, just wasn't a good look. So basically, you know, he left me, or, you know, something like that. We divorced. And then I ended up marrying the guy that rescued me. And we ended up living like this quaint, like quiet life. I think I died really old and just died. Like, I think I just laid there, right? Like for like a long time. I just think I just died of old age with this guy. And it was just like not a mediocre life, but it was just a quiet, like completely opposite life of what I had before.
I'll read what you actually said in the moment.
I don't remember
that your lessons were.
Oh yeah, okay.
So the cool thing about this is I get to ask her when she transitions, when she experiences that transition, and she lets me know she has passed or crossed over, I asked her, so what lessons, did you learn from this past life that you'd want to bring into your life now, right? So what did you learn that you want to implement now? And this is the powerful part, guys. This is where I don't want you to have to wait one more lifetime to remember you learned this already. Right. Yeah. So you said, don't settle. Be free to yourself. Be free.
Okay.
Don't wait too long to live your life. And the other lesson was have more fun, but be safe.
Yeah.
When you're having fun. Don't settle was the first thing you said. Don't settle.
That's interesting. Mm-hmm.
And I know what we're going to get to in the next life, but it's interesting now it's dawning on me, like, yeah, you're a white woman, but you didn't like the entitled white man thing that your husband was.
Yeah.
So that's like real. Another, so that's one notch right there, right? And
right.
Then the next life, and then this life, and then it's kind of like the notches.
It's a theme.
And it's funny. So when I do the past life regression, I do an intake in the beginning, and just kind of see what are some things that you've always noticed about yourself, patterns or beliefs or tendencies, or something that really always annoys you, or a fear you have. And I remember I wrote down right here that entitlement annoys you. You said that in your intake. Entitlement annoys me. Entitled white people annoy me. People who are ignorant, self-centered, or don't show compassion.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
To this day.
But it makes sense why that annoys you if in several lives you experience this like entitlement vibe,
Yeah.
And continuing to live that today. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So we decided, Simone and I, that I would read my notes word for word, what she said for this second life. Get your tissues out.
Am I going to get my tea?
Just story time. This is the life that I said sticks with me. It sticks in the back of my mind. I've done over 200 plus past life regressions. This one sticks in my mind a lot as a Hawaiian woman, as a Polynesian woman, and relating to Simone about what irritates me is entitlement too. So, and people who don't have empathy or compassion. Mm-hmm. Okay, so the second life, so after she transitioned out of that first one and I asked her what her lessons were, I asked her if there was another life she wanted to explore. She said yes. So you said, my face was itching right in the inner eyelid. I literally write everything down.
I was like, really?
I'm reading word for word.
I will watch this like
I'm asking, I'm asking questions, but I write down everything she answers to me.
Okay.
It feels like I'm in greenery. I'm outdoors. I see a beach. I'm seeing boats and people working on them in the dock. I'm a girl. I think I'm 13 years old. I think I live around there. I live with my family. I live in like a village. I'm brown skinned. So I told her, like, what color is your skin? Look down at your feet. Get in touch with your feet or get in touch with your hands. What color is your skin? Brown. I have dark, long hair. It feels like an island. I'm not sure where, but I think I'm on an island. We have a main area with fire where everyone gathers. Everyone has their own houses made up of vines and bamboo. I'm wearing what feels like animal skin. This is really long, a really long time ago, maybe even before the 1700s. The boats are long. There's 2 poles and vines that keep it together. So it's not like the boats we see now. Like this is what boats would look like to them. 2 poles and vines that keep it together. Maybe about 10 people can fit on them. The men go out on the boats to fish, and they go to different islands to get goods that we don't have here on our island. I feel good. I ask her, okay, reflect about your life. How do you feel? I feel good. I feel like I want to do something, but for some reason I can't. Maybe I'm just too young. So she was about 13 still. She has siblings, 4 to 5 siblings. My relationship with my family is good. My mom is really strict. My dad is on one of those boats. I get excited when I see him. And I didn't know what she was, so I said, do you have a name of your tribe? And she just said, you just said Maori.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I don't know what that is. Like,
yeah,
I didn't know what that was.
You didn't know what that word was. You just said it, right? The women cook and watch the kids, and some women hunt, but you have to be really special to be a woman that hunts. They fish from the beach and the coast, not the boat. The women are really strong. They built the houses. The women built the houses. I love when we're around the fire and the men are home too. I love where we are. I love the forest. I love the greenery. It's very peaceful. There's no war. All the other tribes nearby are like family too. We share different resources. Sometimes they'll just visit us to say hi. My mom is my mom in this life.
I remember
so
that.
You guys, a lot of times in your past life regression, you can recognize your relationship to someone in this life. And it's amazing that she recognized in her past life regression that her mom in that past life is her mom in this life, which is amazing. My mom is strict. She doesn't let us run around. We can't be too far from her sight. Something happened to my older brother. Maybe he drowned or something happened. But I want to hunt just like the other women, but she's not having it. That's what she said. She's not having it. She loves me. Other kids will come into our house because they like it here. And my mom makes it so nice so people like to visit us. There's
my mom does that now. Which is funny. Yeah.
That people gravitate to your mom and that she makes it feel like home. Yeah. There's a boy I really like. I'm 18 now. He works on a different boat from your dad. He's not on your dad's boat. He's on a different boat. But I get shy. It's really warm where I am. And then we fast forwarded a little bit. I asked you to fast forward.
Right.
And you said, okay, I have babies now. I'm in my 30s. The guy that I like is my husband now. It hasn't been peaceful. A lot of people are getting sick. Something happened and a lot of people at one time got sick. Now the women are all hunters, and they even learned how to fight.
Yeah, I remember that.
We are on guard. So it went from like this really, really peaceful time, you guys, to like when in her 30s, it was just a lot of turmoil. And you could feel the energy in my office shift.
Really?
Like, yeah.
I don't remember that.
Like, it's very peaceful. And then like, as you started talking about, okay, like I could even feel it. Like, I'm like, okay. So she's like, we're on guard, but at this moment, nothing's happening. I feel really strong and I feel ready to fight. I will protect my family at all costs. I feel like some of the younger people look up to me as a guide for them. I have a responsibility for more than just my family. I feel like I'm ready to fight. And then you said, my husband wants to fight too, but he's worried about the children. But I feel they'll be all right. I just need to fight for everybody. It's nighttime and I'm in front of the fire and I'm prepping everyone in the village. I'm so angry. Something's happening. Something's happened. A lot of people are dead. They're dying or lost, and I want to know why. A part of me feels like another tribe we used to be friends with maybe came. I don't know what happened. So this is the part, you guys, that she was really for a moment confused. Like, I know something bad happened to my people just now, but I'm not really sure yet what's gonna play out. So she was trying to figure it out. So I was trying to hold space for her and ask her more detailed questions to see what it was. I don't want to blame the other tribe. I'm not sure who did this. I just know something's happening to my people. And then, as she got clearer on what was going on, she said, I see some big ships. They're really big. It's making me mad because it's causing a lot of waves and knocking our boats around. I don't know who they are, and I haven't seen them before. I feel like everybody is scared and we are praying to our ancestors and trying to understand what this all means. You watch the comments. I'll keep reading.
I'll watch them. Yep, that's exactly what happens. Yes.
And what do we do now with the children? Now we have to fight, but I don't want them there. We have to go into the jungle and just hide. So you were talking about hiding the children in the middle of the island in the jungle. I feel like we're in the jungle for a long time hiding, but people are thinking, other people were disagreeing with you. You wanted to take the children in to hide, and other people were saying, like, no, you're crazy. Like, we don't need to go run into the jungle and hide. But you felt you needed to protect the children, and you felt something bad was going to happen.
Yep.
The ships, the ships aren't coming towards us anymore, but I don't trust them. So she was seeing ships. You guys, if you ever watch Apocalypto by Mel Gibson, it's like the ending of Apocalypto is what I was picturing as Simone was like telling me. Like she could see the ships off in the distance and she knew something bad was going to happen. Like she was having premonitions and trying to tell her people, I think we should go towards the middle of the jungle.
Yep.
And so everyone's like, no, I think it's fine, you know. So the ship stopped coming towards the ocean, but you didn't trust it. I'm a leader in the village. I'm a leader over these kids. I feel an obligation to protect the younger people. P.S. Simone's goal one day is to have her own nonprofit where she helps kids.
Yes.
I'm making the connection for you.
Right.
The first time we talked, you wanted to start a nonprofit. Like your dream job would be to have a nonprofit to help kids.
Yes.
And like, look at this, what you did in a past life. It's just crazy. You said, I think it's white men in a lot of clothes. They smell, I think the men came ashore now when she started to experience this. They smell really bad. And I don't know what they're saying. This is the best part. She's like, their teeth and mouth are black.
I clearly remember that.
As soon as you said that, I knew they were European and they were drinking tea. And that's why their mouth was black. Because they were drinking tea. They aren't harming anybody. They're just walking around. So the white men have now docked on land and started walking around the island. Yep. They aren't harming anybody. They're just walking around. And then you got mad. You're like, they're touching everything.
Yes.
So like, they're touching everything. And they're just looking at us. And they aren't honoring our land. And it's making me pissed. But the men are telling me to fall back because nothing is happening. So as a woman, you're like, I don't feel like this is right. I don't trust these white men. But the men of your village were like, chill out. They're not being aggressive yet.
Yeah.
Chill out. They're not showing aggression. Chill out. And you're like, no, like this doesn't feel right in my body.
Yeah.
I do see one of the men has something from the other islands, something of theirs that is sacred. So you notice that another tribe, he had it with him. And so you're like, that's not a good foreshadowing of what's about to happen if he has something from another tribe that is like your family, you know, like a neighboring tribe. And it was something sacred. I notice it. And then I think something bad happened to that tribe. I just don't know what happened. The kids are in the jungle. So you did put the kids in the middle of the jungle. The kids are in the jungle, and my focus is to make sure that the kids don't come out and they don't know that the kids are in the jungle. These white men have guns. They shoot. Oh, this is the part that you cried.
Yeah.
You straight up cried in the chair.
I remember this.
She cried in the chair. They shot a big cat. It's one of ours, but they shot it. It's one of our animals that lives in our jungle. I'm so sad. It's a leopard, and we believe that the leopard is one of our ancestors. They aren't doing anything to us, but they aren't honoring our space either. I don't understand what they're even saying. One guy has a limp, and I don't like him. He also looks like a woman, short, curly hair, and he has a hat on. They're touching all our stuff, and I don't want them to touch it. They're just being disrespectful, and I think these men are dirty. It's funny because they think you guys are the dirty ones.
Right, yeah.
And yet you're looking at them like, oh,
like
you're
savage,
dirty.
right? Like,
you're dirty. Yeah, and touching all of our stuff with no respect. Yeah.
Yep. I
think that they want us to make them a fire, but that's not for them. It's sacred. This is not for them to have our fire. They are kicking our ashes all around the fire, and I want to do a ceremony for the leopard or the lion. It was either a leopard or a lion, but it was a big cat in the jungle.
Yeah.
That we're not sure exactly what kind of cat, but you were saying like leopard or lion or something. So it's an ancestor to you guys. And you wanted to have a ceremony for this cat dying, right?
Yeah.
And you said, I don't want these guys out of my sight. I want to make sure they don't go into the jungle to find those kids, you know? I don't want my husband to go into the jungle. they'll see him, they'll follow him. And I'm really worried about the kids. Because you guys had no idea if the kids were okay.
Right.
You just have to put them in the middle of the jungle and just be like, I hope they're surviving. Probably put the oldest one in charge and like, you know. So we make them a fire anyway. Like you didn't want to make them so it's so crazy. Like they didn't even make their own fire. They had the natives make them a fire.
Yeah.
After they shot an ancestor.
That's entitlement. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they shot your ancestor and then they're like, make us a fire. Yikes. We make them a fire anyway. I think they're drinking and being really loud. So the white men were drinking and being obnoxious. They're singing songs and we don't know what to do. Then you fast forward it a little bit and then you yelled, oh my God, like you yelled that. Oh my God, there's more boats now. People are, so it went from a scene of like, okay, they killed the ancestor. You were mourning the ancestor that died and you wanted to do ceremony, but you couldn't do ceremony. And then we fast forwarded Dana. I know Dana was going to love this story. Dana, I knew Dana had to be on to listen to this. And then it was a different scene. Like we fast forward a little bit and then you said, there's more boats. People are dying. A lot of our men are dying. I feel helpless. The children are still hiding in the jungle. I don't know what to do. The white men are raping our women. They haven't touched me yet. Maybe I'm tied up, but I feel like I can't do anything. I'm watching and I'm weak. The guy with the limp, that's the main guy raping all these women. Even the older women. I can't talk because I've been screaming and the back of my head hurts from screaming. Behind my neck, like you kept telling me like right back here at the base of your head. I can't recognize the village anymore. Where are the houses? It doesn't even look like it looked like before. I think they want to live here or something. They raped the women. They killed our men who were trying to protect the women. And then you said the tribe that they took that sacred thing from, that you felt like, you know, that tribe got fooled as well. They fooled them too. The white men, you said, they fooled them. The group, they pretended to help us, but they wanted to kill us and rape us. So they pretended to like befriend you guys and then they switched. I'm running into the jungle now. I'm naked. I'm hysterical. I'm telling everyone to go, to run. I hear gunshots. The animals, our ancestors are trying to protect us in the jungle. So the animals were even trying to protect the people. But there are too many of them and there's too many guns. The animals were able to stop some of them and they turned back around. So the animals were able to protect you enough so that you guys could flee a little bit into the jungle and then they ended up staying by the shore because of the animals. But my husband isn't with me. I think they killed him. All the kids are fine because they stayed in the middle of in the middle of the jungle. The boat with the man, I don't like. They left. So the guy with the limp, I guess he left. Everything is destroyed. Our animals are killed. Our houses are burned down. Our fires are gone. They took some of our boats. And most of our men are killed. My husband isn't dead, but he's not okay. They're still white men. They're still there. So they some of them left, but they left some of the men there on the island. Yeah. Sound familiar, you guys? But they're still white men. They're still here. They aren't mean. I think they actually feel bad. There's this one guy and he's trying to help us. He's not as evil as the others, but I just look around and I see destruction. Now I know why the other tribe didn't come. Like they usually come to share resources with you guys, but they didn't come for a while. Yeah. And you guys were wondering why they didn't come. We have to rebuild. And if we try to help the others, they'll shoot us. White men are at the other islands, so they can't leave to help the other tribes. So they left the white men there so that those tribes couldn't get in their boats to like let you guys know what was about to happen. Yep. So they didn't let anyone leave their own islands. So that you guys couldn't basically come together and fight this force. Right. Yeah, together. I just want to honor those who passed away, and I want to honor the animals and the ancestors, and I want to clean all of this up. Whew, that was super intense.
Yeah. And just like kind of replaying it in my mind. Yeah. Yeah.
It's intense, yeah.
Yeah, it's heavy.
Yeah. The lessons that you learned were, don't be afraid to use your voice. Mm-hmm. Fight when you need to fight. Pick and choose your battles. People will try to take up your time and your space as much as you allow them to. People will take up your time and your space as much as you allow them to. And the other lesson you took away was always look out for the youth. Mm-hmm. Always look out for the youth.
Yeah.
Because, this is the last part.
Oh.
Okay, so she said, this is the last lesson she said to me in hypnosis. Always look out for the youth. They'll be the ones that carry things forward.
Right. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
I know, all the feels, all the emotions coming back. Right. And as you guys are listening to it, just imagine me in the session with her, hearing all of this as she's in a hypnotic, relaxed state, but telling me everything. Yeah. So she's relaxed enough to get the messages coming through. And like she said, even in her body, she could feel it in her body. Mm-hmm. A lot of my clients experience it in their body. And then and she's in the chair and she's just talking to me about it. And all I am doing is holding space, making sure she's okay, because sometimes you do feel stuff in your body. Mm-hmm. And just holding space and asking questions to help you figure out those details. Yeah. Because the details matter when you look back like this, like 2 years later, as I'm reading this right now.
Yeah, I wouldn't have gave that much detail.
But detail, so I'm glad you read it. Right. You wouldn't have remembered that much detail. So I think like me writing that down and just you hear, that's why I wanted to do it this way today, guys. I wanted to read it back to her so you guys could actually hear it for the first time and then like watch her experience it again as I'm reading it. It's heavy. No, okay. So then she was very emotional after this, bawling. And I had a client right after that because we went pretty long. We went like half an hour over. Mm-hmm. And then like she goes in the bathroom and she's like, "Oh my God, how am I supposed to go on this date?" I was
a hot mess.
How am I supposed to go on this date now?
And I couldn't cancel. It was like too soon to cancel. So I was just like swollen face, red eyes, puffy, like everything, looking at a mess. And I know he was kind of like, okay, girl, get it together. What is going on here? Yeah.
How was that? Like, I just read that as I heard it and I wrote all this stuff down. But as you were experiencing it, what parts like really stood out for you and like that you connected with?
I think like just hearing the details again, because I think the story is very vivid to me. Like it's almost like I was watching a movie. And so it's almost like I can see it again and feel it again. I think what I forgot about in this was like the kind of like the details around like my mom and kind of like the better days, I guess, if you would call it. And I think because of course like I remember the more traumatic parts just more vividly. So like more of that, I remembered again. And I think also like the detail, I did forget about the fact that they kept the guys there. So we couldn't do anything else. Like we couldn't help the other islands or we couldn't help the other tribes. Like that part I forgot about, that they kept people there as they kept going to the different islands and probably doing the same things. And that's literally how I feel they colonized all of the world.
They're still doing that.
to this day.
Still doing
but especially back then, where communication and technology weren't a thing. I think it was just easy. It
was interesting that they left the guys who were not the assholes to kind of just make sure you guys were okay, like you weren't leaving the island, but the ones who were like all ego, basically, were like all ego, were like
they were the ones going.
They were the ones going and trying to conquer and trying to, we're your friends and we're nice and blah 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 and we're and then boom.
Yeah, it's like good cop, bad cop type of thing, like where you like almost like, or it's almost like what's the syndrome, like where people like empathize with their oppressors, or what is that? Like Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah.
What is that? It's kind of like that.
I know
like,
you're. Yeah.
Yeah.
If someone knows what she's talking about.
I can't think of it right now. But yeah, it's kind of like, I feel like that must have happened a lot in history, right?
Yeah.
And I think that
Stockholm syndrome.
Thank you. Yeah. So I don't know. I think that's kind of, that to me sticks out a little bit, like how they were able to manipulate and take over land that just not theirs. Thank you guys. Yeah. So
it makes sense to me why you don't like entitlement. It makes sense to me why people who can't be compassionate, who, think they're more important. What really sticks in my head was for me, as you're talking, it's like reading a book, because I can make the imagery in my head, what you're saying. Yeah. And like, I just imagine like these short, curly hair, like chubbier, limping man touching everything, touching your houses, touching the stuff, touching the fire, just dirty, and like walking around and touching everything with like no respect.
Yeah.
And pretending to be like, oh, we're not aggressive, but at the same time, like, we're going to do things our way.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's crazy that you didn't see when it flipped. You didn't
see.
I
think I remember you kind of making me fast forward, because I was just like going. You're like, let's just fast forward to like the next scene, or like the next period. Because I probably could have kept going for like
with the details.
Few hours. Yeah.
About the details that you were
getting. I think that's what happened. And I think it was just a matter of like time. But
were you tied up? Did they tie you up? Because you were weak and you were screaming.
Yeah, I think they tied me up. Like, I really think I couldn't move, or I couldn't.
Our Instagram is.
I think, it's frozen.
Hang on, guys.
I was like, Instagram froze.
Hang on. I think our Instagram is like. Oh. Hang on. Can you hear me here?
I can hear you on.
Okay. Zoom. I think IG is trying to.
Yeah, you're frozen.
It froze. Try to
Should I like exit out?
Try to log out of there and come back in. On IG. Can you guys hear us? Just checking. It froze. Can you guys hear me? If you can.
Oh.
Do a thumbs up.
I can see.
Okay. You can hear me. I can hear. Okay. Sorry. We like kind of look like we froze for a second. Okay. There we go.
Of course, technology.
Okay. And we're back.
Okay. We're back.
All right. You were screaming and you were tied up. And then what happened?
Yes. Yeah, that's really, I just remember feeling like my hands might have been tied behind my back or something, and I just couldn't move, and I just had to sit and watch the destruction.
I think they tried to rape you or something, because you were naked.
Yeah.
Right? You ran back into the forest.
Yeah. I know I somehow was able to get out, like get free and run. I just remember I don't have much left to lose at this point. Like everything's destroyed, but I want to get to the kids. I do remember wanting to get to the kids. Yeah. And
none of those kids were yours, I don't think.
I think my kids were in there.
Okay. That's something we never really focus on too much, is if there were your kids, like your own, or if they were just like the village kids.
I remember the husband was kind of like, let's worry about our own kids.
Okay.
And I was like, so they'll be all right.
Kids. Okay.
Yeah, we'll be like, they'll be all right. We need all the kids to be okay. So just kind of like, I get it. You want to protect your own and your unit, but it's the community. So I remember being like, nah, we got to protect all of the kids and get them out of here.
It sucks because I have sat in on several sessions like this, whether it was a couple clients who are, Native American, and I don't know. Dana, are you on still? I'm trying to think if there was other like Polynesian past lives that I sat in on, like that my clients were that had like oppressive things happen in their lives. I definitely know I had several clients that were Native American.
Right.
Yeah. Vicky said this one is such a different past life regression.
Yes, like I wanted to be a fairy. Like,
hers were fairies and
right? I was like, I can't do that. That looks fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know.
Yeah. I mean, how does it, like, how did it help you, or like what did you gain from like doing this?
I think
how has it changed you?
A few things. Oops. Yeah, great question. And I think initially, you know, it just helped me understand me a little more. And I really think that it just helped me kind of figure out like why certain things, why I lean towards certain things, or why I was a certain way, or why I wanted to work with kids so bad.
Yeah.
I think that, because I mean, again, I'm currently in corporate America. Like, I've been in sales since I got out of college. So there's nothing really, I've never went down that path of like working with kids or being, you know, that person for kids. And I just am drawn to that. So that helped make sense for me.
Yeah.
And I think it also just kind of changed like the way I look at, or helps me understand like where I get frustrated with people who are entitled. I get frustrated with, you know, the entitlement of white people. It helps me understand like where I get enraged, you know? So just having that understanding of like the internal like fire that burns in me, like where that came from. I think it helps to understand, like, you know, I always assumed it was like my African ancestry, my, you know, being a Black woman in America, being the descendant of enslaved people, just having that be the what really burns in me, but it's really like that too, that past life. So I just think, just in general, the past life regression that I did with Britt just definitely helped me kind of put a bow on some things, tie some things together, help me make more sense to me. I think that's really why I did it.
Yeah. So when are you starting this nonprofit?
Oh God, I know, right?
We're doing like a life coaching session right here.
All right.
But it's coming. Yes. It's coming. We've had more conversation about it. I know COVID happened this year, but we definitely have had more conversation about how to get this going. Yeah. So I know that's on the table with you.
It's just trying to figure out
we can open up for questions. Like if anyone wants to chime in and ask questions, we'll continue the conversation. But if you guys have any questions, I think this is like a great time.
Yeah. I know there's people like in my life that have joined here that have no idea that I've done this. So just a heads up.
Welcome.
Past life regression. So of course, if it doesn't resonate with you, you don't have to chime in or join. Mm-hmm. But yeah, this was just Britt and I connected through Reiki, and then obviously we did the past life regression. So
yeah. I mean, honestly, guys, it was hard for me to listen to.
Yeah.
As a Hawaiian, it was hard for me to sit through it. Because it felt like, I'm getting emotional talking about it. Like, it felt like fuck, like I'm seeing this play out, you know, and I'm like, as Hawaiians, we feel like we still living it. It wasn't that, I know in yours, it was like before the 1700s, but like when our queen was overthrown, you know, it wasn't that long ago. Right. Like late 1800s. So it brought up, I think, a lot of emotion for both of us. Mm-hmm. And then it's like makes sense why we connected in this life too. I feel.
Yep.
It made our friendship make more sense.
Yes.
Why we understand each other. And then it made me like wonder, like, Rihanna said, can you walk us through the process of how I led her through the past life? Mm-hmm. You want me to teach you, Rihanna? Is that what you're asking? That's for another day. No, I mean, it's like a regular hypnosis session of just relaxation techniques. And then it gets to a point where I take her into a hallway. I like to ground people, Rihanna. I like to ground people in their happy place for a certain reason, because if any point in time that they feel uncomfortable in the session, they can go back to their happy place. So I like to have them go there and ground there first. We welcome in all our guides. We welcome in all the ancestors. We welcome anything of the light that wants to help. And then we go. And then she goes into a hallway, and I say, you know, just observe the hallway, and, you know, just observe the different doors, the different colors of the doors and things like that. And let me know if there's one door that's standing out more than the others. And the doors are just like symbols that is going to lead down to a past life. And usually one door will just stand out. Some people only see one door. Some people see hundreds of or 20 plus doors, you know? So it's, and then she chooses the door, and then I count her back into that past life, and she just relaxes and then goes. And that's when she said she started spinning and feeling her feet was cold going into that first past life. And then she just drops into it. And once you're in that flow of how you're being communicated in your body, in your third eye, whatever, however the information is coming, it's easier. Once you understand, like, okay, this is how I'm experiencing it. Yep. And then I'm just going to tell Britt about it. But I really don't feel like we're just doing it ourselves.
Right.
I really feel like there's helpers, like making it all connect and happen for us.
Yeah. And I do think, onto that note, like, I think they give you the message in the way that you can receive it the best way. So, like, I wanted to watch it. I did feel things, but it wasn't like strong. It wasn't like I felt any type of like crazy feelings. I mean, there were some uncomfortable feelings, but it wasn't like I was like completely in a bad like physical space.
And that's why I'm there to hold space, because if you really were uncomfortable, I would have to move you out of that that moment. I'd have to count you forward and fast forward, like hitting the fast forward button,
which you did a couple
and
times
if it gets uncomfortable, I have to move her out of it. Like the time she saw herself, you know, basically being taken advantage of in the bar by the guy, I didn't let her stay in that scene too long. We just stayed long enough to get the information, and then I fast forward.
We move forward,
so that she
it wasn't like this traumatic experience that I had to relive.
For 5 minutes or anything. I mean, you're moving forward after we just get, okay, this is what's happening. All right, like fast forward through that. So it's safe, you guys, you know. But people always ask, like, do you see how you die? And yes, if if the death is very important, like her first life, she just lived till she was old.
Yeah, I just laid there.
She just died, you know, when she was old. Nothing crazy. But if there is a, you know, a different way that you die, a lot of times it's very important for you to see, to understand why you have certain fears in this life. Yeah. Like people with phobias, past life stuff. Most times it's past life stuff, especially if it's like weird phobias.
So to answer this one question, which is a great question.
You want to read it? Read the question.
Okay, so do you think that your current life has, it's going away, have made progress? In which area do you feel you've had the most success based on your past life regression? So that's a great question. And I want to say, like, I don't feel like I've made progress at that point, like up until that point. I think I needed the past life regression to start to make changes. You know, or to identify areas where, like, first, like settling, you know.
Don't settle was the lesson of the first life.
Which kind of probably was like a warning for that date that I went on afterwards that I shouldn't have gone, you know. You know, I think, like, at that point, I think I was just trying to find answers and trying to understand myself more and just get more in tune to me. And I think, you know, naturally, I usually like to, like, play background. I usually like to play small. Like, for instance, like going on this live today, I was like, Britt, can we just do Zoom? Like, I don't want to be on live.
Like, you guys, we weren't going to go live. We weren't going to go live today. We were just going to film on Zoom. I was going to put it on YouTube. And like, I think around like lunchtime, I was like, you sure?
And I was like,
you sure you don't want to go live? And then I was like, I think a lot of people would like appreciate hearing your experience. And you know, I have Polynesian followers,
right? Yes,
so, you know, Hawaiian followers. So I think they would find this past life regression pretty fascinating, and can relate to a lot of stuff. You know,
so I'm still making progress. So I think,
but in that life, you really played it like you stepped up.
Right.
You really weren't afraid to like step up.
I know, and that's like I was trying to fight. I think everybody was trying to hold me back. Like I was really ready to go.
You weren't afraid to tell the men.
Yeah.
You were very pretty, like, forceful with, like, nope, I feel like this is right. Nope, I don't want that. Nope, we got to take the kids. You're the reason the kids were safe. You realize that. I just want to acknowledge that. You're the reason the kids in that past life stayed safe, because people told you, no, you're overreacting, and you said, screw you. I'm taking them to the middle of the island in the jungle where they're more protected.
Yeah.
And at least the animals were protecting them as well.
I think that's what happened. I think, and honestly, like, being kind of in a way groomed to grow and go through corporate America, I do think I lost a sense of that, like, just kind of that fearlessness, that ability to just kind of speak up, be heard, be, especially because I think
your last job, you really couldn't speak up.
Oh, girl. Yeah.
You really couldn't.
I could not. And I think it was predominantly white men that I was dealing with in that situation. So I think, and as a Black woman in this life, you don't want to come off as like the angry Black woman. I think there's a complex that comes with just speaking up and being like holding your ground and being stern in your delivery. And, it always can get misinterpreted, or usually it gets a label attached to it that's not what it is. If a man did it, especially a white man, it would be like, man, I like him. He goes after it. If it's me as a Black woman, it's like, you might want to tone that down. So I think I've just over time started to tone that down, because I just did not want to get mislabeled, and I lost a lot of that myself, a lot of that essence.
You guys, this is a life coaching session unfolding. Right? It's totally a life coaching session unfolding. I think it's so cool that you got to hear this back 2 years later. Like, seriously.
I know, 2 years, right?
And then, like, reflecting on, like, where you are now, and, like, job-wise, and all this other stuff. And like you said, like, I feel like women need to speak up more, because we have intuition that there's some very intuitive men. Don't get me wrong. And amazing men who are healers. Don't get me wrong. But women need to speak up more, because their intuition is more on point. Yeah. So had you not spoken up, those kids wouldn't have been safe. They would have been raped or killed, and they're the ones who are going to carry on the culture, because they survived. Yep. So I'm getting all kind of chicken skin right now. Right. So I think it's important for women to speak up, because
take up more space.
You had that intuition that something bad was going to happen, but all the other guys were like, well, they're not showing aggression towards us, so we'll just chill out,
Yeah, exactly.
Rihanna says she hopes in a past life she was a banker or something.
I know, it's like everybody gives like animals or like fairy. I was like, okay.
No, yours was intense. I mean, you guys, she like legit left like in tears, but not in like a what the fuck, Britt. Like, it was like holy crap. Like,
I was like oh my God. Yeah. It just changed my life. It did. Yeah.
It makes a lot more sense about why you get emotional with the hakas.
Right. Like, where would I get that from? And I was like really expecting, literally, y'all. Like, I thought I was going to be like an African queen or some type of...
But who knows? Like, maybe we just haven't seen that life yet. Right, so, we have had many, many, many past lives. So I'm sure there has been another one that, we can like look. I mean, it's been 2 years now. So,
Yeah, we tried again.
If you want to do another one.
We might have to revisit that.
She's saying we have to do that.
I just think those two are like, I think it took me the full 2 years to just process that and to see how it's like played out for me now, right? Like,
it does take a while, you guys. Like, you're not gonna, you think you're wanting to go, let's do this session with Britt, and like 2 months later, let's do another one. It takes some time to fully process. It's heavy stuff. Like, honestly, like after 3 lives, like people usually see like 1 to 3 in the session with me, but after like the third one, they might still see many, many doors in the hallway, but they're like, this is good. Yeah, this is enough. It's too much right now to process more lives. 3 is a lot to process, right? So just know that. You would think, why don't we just go and see 7? Like, no, it's it's reliving it all over again. So it's just a lot to integrate and to process.
Yeah.
What else?
I just had a light bulb moment.
Oh,
so
good.
This is like kind of not related, but related. So remember when into the second life, the beginning, I saw like the greenery and like the lusciousness. Mm-hmm. So that's the same greenery I saw when I did Reiki on you with Jackie. And and I remember I was like, I see green and I see you with the baby girl. Remember that?
This is before.
It was the same green.
I got like pregnant.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. I just had to throw that out because the little light bulb just came and I just remember that. So cool.
Yes.
But it's so crazy because I was like, oh, it's the greenery. And it kind of like, the way I went into it, it was kind of the same way I saw it when we did the Reiki on you in that class. But that was powerful too. But that was
doesn't it feel like you drop into the environment first?
Yeah, and it's not like in the past life, but you just kind of like start to like
observe your
like a curtain kind of opens up or something like.
That's where because even your first life, I think you're like walking on the street and it was dark. You know, there was like street light. You were cold. Yes. Yeah, you were cold. And that's what you started saying, like, oh, there's street lights. I think I'm walking like through the street, you know. Yeah, Vicky said it was years between her sessions. So she's done 2 sessions. Yeah. And it is a lot to process. You know. Do you guys have other questions for me or for Simone? I know Rihanna's trying to take notes on how to perform a past life regression over here. Yeah.
I would just say, like, for those who don't really, you know, if you're not really sure about hypnosis, I do know, I don't know if they're still on, but there are a couple of people that it may conflict with your spiritual practice. Like, do what you need to do for you and what makes sense to you. But for those who are curious and want to try it, it's really, and again, the key is to trust who you get this from. But I trusted Britt, and I did feel like, you know, going into hypnosis with someone, I really wanted to trust them and make sure, like, in my heart and my spirit, it didn't conflict with anything that I felt or my spirituality or whatever it is. And I did. I felt safe. I felt like this would be okay. And it was just like, you guys heard the story, so it was a really great experience. I mean, not necessarily great to watch, but just to see, like, and understand, like, how, you know, because I think sometimes we look at, like, how things over the years, like how colonization happened, how Europeans have come and, like, kind of ravaged the world in some ways. And it just really helps to see, like, I mean, not helps, but it just, like, you could see just how quick it happens and how easy it was for them. And no matter how hard you try to fight, you know, I think, real quick side note to that, like, there's things going around that are like, oh, I'm not my ancestors, or, you know, and it's like that. I just think that's really insulting to the ancestors who did fight and who really did try to do everything they could to protect their families, to protect their land, whatever it is. They just had more weaponry. They had more, like, they're more savage. Like, they're like, you know, sometimes, like, your mind cannot think to do certain things just because it's not you, that's not who you are. I think that's what was happening. Like, you just don't think to do things to other people in that way. And they did. And that's how I think they were able to just come and just island by island by island, knock everybody out, take over, take control, manipulate the group that was there with the people, you know, the nice ones, you know, just little things like that. It's just, you can kind of tell, like, and it's just a really, like, I don't want to use that word, but, like, kind of like, it was absurd just to watch that and just to, like, see, and then just to kind of understand just how it happens. I think because we think, like, oh, like, I would have fought, like, I would have done this. Like, if it was me, if I was there, I would have, you know. And I think it's like,
but like, look how peacefully. This is what people forget. Look how peacefully that these tribes were living prior. Right? They're not thinking, oh, we've never had anyone come and, like, rape and pillage our place.
Right, we're not thinking like that.
You might have disagreements with other tribes or other chiefs or other leaders, but we figure it out, you know, and you guys shared your resources with the different people on the different islands, you know, and lived, for the most part, pretty peacefully. Yeah, like I said, you have your disagreements and whatnot. Don't get me wrong. There are tribes that have taken over tribes.
Oh yeah.
Duh. Yes. You know, there's that.
Yeah.
But we cannot deny how the white men quickly moved across America, you know, and everywhere else, and they're still doing it. So the cool thing I want people to understand is like, you know, she's Black in this life.
Yeah.
She's Polynesian. She was Polynesian in another life. She was white in another life.
Yeah.
And so if people had just more compassion that we've all been like of different ethnicities, different cultures, different classes, rich, poor, middle class, whatever, sometimes animals, sometimes plants, right? That we would just be more connected and treat each other more compassionately because we've been of different things. You know, I said this in the last session. One of the coolest things was watching my other client, who's a Black woman, realize she was a white man in her past life, and she freaked out. Right. You know, she's like, oh my God, I'm white, you know, but I'm like, yes, that's why we need to have more compassion for each other. That's probably why, you know, the white people that are living in Hawaii that probably are more in tune with the Hawaiian culture than some Hawaiians are, I'm like, oh, maybe they were Hawaiian in a past life. Maybe they were indigenous in a past life. All these people who are activists today, I'm like, man, you must have been fucked over in several past lives that you're like, I'm not doing it in this life. You know what I mean? Like, right. No, like I've been on the other end of the stick in several lives that I'm going to speak up now, and I'm not going to hold back. But I just wish more people would realize that like we're really all connected, and that we've been of different ethnicities.
Yeah, and I do think,
and men and women, men and women too. You know,
yeah, that too.
Different roles. So
yeah, and I do think like most of the people on this call or in here are of color, most. But I do think, you know, for the work doesn't always need to fall on us. You know, I do think that there are white people that need to do this type of work and really hold themselves accountable too for how they've shown up in the world in this life and in previous lifetimes. Not that they were white in previous lifetimes, but just to check and balance like where their privileges are, where their blind spots are, all of us, you know. But I do think
use their voice to help, you know.
Yes, it's also important for them to also do the work, because we've been doing it. We all been doing it.
Yeah.
So we're tired.
Was it Dave Chappelle? Yeah, that I was saying that in one of his comedy lives, he's like, I've been a Black man in many past lives, I'm tired. Yeah. Or like, I've been Black in many past lives, I'm tired. Mm-hmm. You know, because he feels like he's been dealing with this shit. Like, you know, I feel like the ones that I've seen in my, like, I was a fairy, I was definitely Buddhist in like at least two of my past lives. And I was always in some type of leadership role. In the ones I've seen, I've been in leadership roles and slightly more, other than the fairy, slightly more masculine energy. Yeah. Like warrior, you know, like leadership, like that type of energy. And like I was telling someone the other day, like this might be the first time I'm actually a mom. Oh, right. I don't know, but I haven't seen other past lives where I was a mom. And watching like taking the kids out like by themselves, like Rod's way more confident and unnatural at it, and he does it with his nieces and nephews, and I'm the kind of person that like when I saw my friends have kids and like I go visit and they're like, you know, 2 weeks old, I'm like, that's so cute, like here's your gift, I'll sit here. Yeah, like, oh, you want to hold her? No, that's not my baby, you know. I'm too scared, right? So it's funny that like I fully embrace my kids and I feel very connected to my kids, but like prior to that I didn't have like any like motherly like let auntie come watch you all by herself for the weekend, like you know, it just didn't come as naturally as like leadership and like decision making for me comes pretty naturally. Speaking my truth comes pretty naturally for me, like speaking up, like Rod's probably like, yeah, she speaks up too much, you know, comes naturally for me. So it's interesting, you guys. I want you to reflect on like what comes naturally for you, because you probably did it before in a past life too.
That's why I think for me it was like kids. Yeah.
Some things are just easier, and that's why you have to be compassionate to your mom or your sister or your spouse or whatever, because some things just come more naturally to you because you've done it in several past lives. This is the first time they're doing it.
Yeah.
Right? So let them figure it out. Let them help them along. But yeah, any other questions or anything like that? I'm super stoked that you finally got to come on here and
I know.
share.
And I actually did the live.
I've been wanting you to share that past life so much.
Yes.
And both of them. And I mean, in that scene where you're being taken advantage of, like, have you seen anything that you learned from that? Or I'm not sure if there's like anything that brought up, or just how you felt about it, thinking about it after.
No, but I think it, in a way, like, helps me empathize with victims of sexual violence, sexual abuse.
Yeah.
I personally, in this life, have not dealt with that to that extent. Yeah. But yeah, I think it's just like, almost like when you feel it, like I felt it, you know? So I think like, it's like, wow, just how violating.
You felt violent. Yeah. You really felt violent. You were telling me in the chair, you're like, it hurts down there. Yeah. It hurts. It hurts. Yeah. It hurts. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think, I mean, the lesson, I don't think that, the only lesson is like, every person who does that to people should just die. I mean, I hate to be like that. Yeah. Like, I just don't have any sympathy or empathy for any type of abusers. But that's just, I think I have more of a passion for that than maybe just someone who hasn't, as someone who hasn't experienced that in this life. But
Vicky says this was so great. Thank you for being brave and sharing your experience, and on to the best life ever.
Yes. Yeah. No, I'm excited, and I know I need to like get on it with this nonprofit and start to really make some solid plans.
It's actually the thing that comes naturally to you.
I know, but I'm like avoiding it, so I need to stop.
What do you think what's your biggest fear with like moving forward on it?
Oh gosh, all the fears, like there's one, of course, money, there's like self-doubt, there's fear, there's like, where do I start? It's all the things that happen when you want to journey into your purpose, right? I think like what everyone goes through.
You realize that living in this capitalistic society,
I know,
this is your lesson for this life. To overcome these blockages, these barriers of like, can I really make a living? Can I really support myself? Can I really support my family? Yes. If I do this nonprofit in the way that I see or want to. And this is your lesson to move forward on that, because this is what comes so naturally for you. And your lesson in that past life that you said, I will read one more time.
Oh, okay.
Always look out for the youth. Yes. Always look out for the youth. They'll be the ones to carry things forward. Yeah. And so I think you overcoming the society you're in now, right? This white, colonized, patriarchal, dominant society that we're in, this capitalistic society that we're in, what success looks like if you have money society that we're in, is navigating how you can really carry out that purpose of helping the youth. It doesn't need to be a nonprofit either, that needs to come to the forefront a little bit more, because I think you're actually naturally good at it. I think you're going to help a lot of people, and inspire them to carry that on, because they're going to learn from you. Like if you're their mentor, they're going to learn from you, and you might be like that one person that shows them love and compassion and empathy and a soft spot, and they're dealing with a lot of stuff. So
you're right. You're right. I know.
We're having a life coaching session, guys.
We are. And I'm like, oh God.
This is, I feel like your lesson in this life is like, can you overcome the white man blocks?
Yeah. It's a lot of those.
To do what you're really meant to do. And in that life, you were so fierce, and everyone who told you like, what are you doing? You're overreacting. Why are you taking the kids to the forest? You're like, no, but I have to keep them safe. And I feel like that, something's going to happen to them.
Yeah.
So we'll work on that, guys. I'll do another hypnosis session with her.
I was like, let me get it
or
together.
she can hop on my, if you haven't tried it yet, I'm trying to do one a week where it's the Zoom group distance Reiki and hypnosis session. And I could definitely put in some suggestions in there about stepping up and like following through on your life's purpose.
Yeah.
So if you're on that, I can put in some suggestions in there.
Follow Britt.
About Caroline's like, do the Zoom. And I'm gonna put on my December dates. I'm gonna put up my December dates on Eventbrite. Yeah, and I'm gonna be sharing Caroline's review of how she experienced Zoom.
Yeah,
a lot of ancestors. Telling you,
I did the first one. I did do
the last session was a lot about ancestors. I thought it was gonna be about manifestation because it was like 11/11, but the ancestors were like, no, you can talk about us.
Yeah.
So yeah. But thank you for joining, everybody.
Yes, thank you.
If you have any questions, I'm gonna try as soon as we like log off here. I'm gonna try to save this for the people who couldn't hop on and watch right now. Caroline's like so many ancestors. Yes. And you can always ask Simone any questions and things like that. But this will be hopefully living on my IG page. So if you missed anything in the beginning, then you can go and check it out. Okay. So we're going to say goodbye on IG for right now, and then we're going to finish up on our Zoom. So take care, everyone. Bye. Okay, hang on. Okay, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us on another episode of Mana Mindset. If you have any questions, just comment below. You can always let me know if you have any questions. Right now I'm like pretty full and I'm not really taking too many new clients, but I can always point you in the direction that someone can do a past life regression session for you. So just let me know. All right. Bye.
Bye.